is hungry. This team isn't done. This team is not going to be denied.
Energy all day! Energy all day!
Nick Bolton makes the hit. It's intercepted by Brian Cook. It's Mahomes gunning it long. Caught!
The Chiefs lost another tough one last week, falling to the Texans in a game that could have gone either way. But there's no time to dwell on it as we host the Chargers in a must-win game to keep our playoff hopes alive. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, it's pretty simple for the Chiefs today. We got to find a way to win.
Yeah, and first of all, let's just put it on a positive note. It's really about 25 to 30 degrees warmer than it was for the Miami playoff game.
I've been thinking about that all day.
Think about how cold that was.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow.
We're like on the beach now compared to that.
This don't feel so bad. But, yeah, I mean, we can sit here and talk about all kinds of scenarios, which we will, and all kinds of probabilities and this or that. But the decision box is pretty clear on the flow chart. Chiefs have to win, and so let's win.
Yeah, let's win. Let's talk about that possible playoff scenario, though. Our situation obviously isn't ideal, but there is a path, and let's talk about it. First, and the most obvious part, once again, is we need to win our final 4 games and get to 10-7 at the end of the year. On top of that, we need some help. So we need the Colts to lose 2 of their final 4 games. Here's their schedule. They play at Seattle, against San Francisco, against Jacksonville, and at Houston. So they need to lose at least 2 of those games. We also need the Chargers.
And Cotton Davidson is quarterbacking them, right? The
Yes.
original AFL quarterback.
I believe so, yeah. Doug Flutie, I think it's going to be.
74-year-old Cotton Davidson.
Yep. We also need the Chargers to obviously lose to us today as part of us winning out. Then the Chargers need to lose 1 of their next 2 games. So they play at Dallas and against Houston. Just got to lose 1 of those 2 games. And then they have to lose the season finale at Denver. That game is very important due to tiebreakers. So one more time, Colts have to lose 2 of their next 4. The Chargers have to lose today, lose 1 of their next 2, and then lose to Denver in the finale. That's a lot. It's really not that far-fetched, though, if you really think about it. But like you said, none of it matters if we don't take care of business here today.
No, but when you look at that, I've been kind of mystified all week long of how people are like, well, it's over, and sackcloth and ashes, and trying to write the obituary. Like, what obituary are we writing? And honestly, it's kind of ticked me off a little bit. This was a team that was down by 24 in a divisional playoff game and won by 20. We were down double digits in 3 Super Bowls. All 3 Super Bowls we won, we trailed. And so, is it over? I mean, I know it's the whole Dumb and Dumber quote of Lauren Holly and Jim Carrey, but no, there's a real path here. But you got to win today. But there's a real path, so it's not over. Don't give me some obituary yet. Not with this team, not with this quarterback or this coach.
Yeah, I'm with you. What a strange season this has been. So last week was the first time all year we lost by more than just a single score. But even that, if you watch the game, was basically a 1-score loss, right? The Texans kicked a field goal with mere seconds left. Well, all those close losses mean that the Chiefs, despite their record, we have the 10th best point differential in the NFL at plus 63. That's just 10 points behind Denver, who's 11-2 this year, and they're better than 7 teams currently in the playoff field. Now, it's not an excuse. Losses count the same however you get them, if it's 3 points or 40 points, but this stat kind of illustrates what a weird season it's been, and it's time to finally flip that narrative here today.
Well, the one-possession games, and everybody talked about it last year, the Chiefs won 12 straight, and you can't do that. Oh, look out. Well, the Broncos are 9-2. They have 9 wins, and these guys are 5-1.
Yep.
So what the Broncos and Chargers have done is what the Chiefs did last year. And the Chiefs, the other side of this, are 1-6. And that's second in the NFL to the bottom in one-possession games, only to the 0-4 Washington Commanders. So honestly, it's closer than people think, and that's your point. Point differential in any sport is always a little bit of an indicator. I could be 10-0, but if my point differential is 10, that meant I won 10 one-point games. So, yeah, there's something there, but you got to prove it today on the field. Today.
You know, one thing that's always really impressed me about the culture here has been the whole attitude of never being too high, never too low.
Yeah.
We're normally talking about that in the context of winning, but I think it's also important when you're losing, like we're dealing with right now. In talking with the players and coaches this week, what's the vibe? What's the resolve of the guys right now?
You really find out about character, and I know this sounds cliche, but it's pertinent. What are your lowest lows? And how are you at that point? And so it's where leadership this week has been from Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to give Chris Jones credit. And I'm going to give you a quiet leader. He doesn't rah-rah. You don't see a reel on your phone from him barking out and cussing. But it's Creed Humphrey.
Okay.
And he's given this kind of quiet leadership, if you will, the quiet strength Tony Dungy writes about in his book, that is there. And it's there in the hallways. It's there in the meeting rooms. So if football teams can be fractured 100 different ways, and when you lose, those fractures open up. But they can be spackled shut when you've got great leadership, and especially among prominent guys on your team. So Pat, Chris, and Creed, to me, get a bow here, and if we win today, a lot of it will be because of those guys.
Well, you mentioned how this team has earned the benefit of the doubt over the years with all the things that we've overcome. As long as Patrick Mahomes has a mathematical chance to achieve something on the football field, I'm going to think he's going to do it until he doesn't. Let's do that here today against a very good Chargers defense. Let's talk about this defense a little bit.
Yep.
Number 9 scoring defense in the NFL. What stands out to you about this Chargers defense?
Well, when you look at their base subjects, they're really good. I mean, they're 4th on third down defense. Their pass defense, they're 2nd in the league in 20-plus passes allowed. I talked last week about tight window catches, which actually ended up being prophetic because we had 5 drops. 4 of those 5 were in tight windows, meaning you're open, but you're open for a fraction of a second. The Charger coverage guys are very similar. Not quite as good as Houston's guys, but similar, meaning you're going to have to make a cold weather tight window catch in this game, which makes it even more so. But they do get the pressure and coverage combo that you want. It's probably, other than we'll get to Herbert in a second, but it's the reason they're 9-4.
Their pass rush is really effective, as you alluded to.
Yep.
Some really good players. Khalil Mack still doing his thing as a 12-year veteran. Tui Pelotu, a very good young player. Odafe Owe having a heck of a season for these guys, being a midseason pickup. Got to slow them down. How about Esa Pole, though, last week? Comes in his first ever regular season game at left tackle with Daniil Hunter on the other side. Really held his own.
Yeah, and I found out when Wanya goes down on the first play from scrimmage, they're kind of looking around like we got to go with Esa Pole, and he was already standing there, smiling, ready to go. And I talked to Esa this week, but really interesting dude. Did not play high school football, 0 high school football. Barely played at Chabot Junior College. It wasn't like he was out there for 2 years grinding away. He was going to play basketball. He was an AAU basketball player. And so he's going to play Division II basketball. He's going to Cal State Hayward, Cal State LA, not D1. But then Washington State saw him on tape and said, let's give this guy a shot. He only played 22 games at Washington State.
Crazy.
But I'm really intrigued with what he'll do today. You mentioned the guys that he's going to have to block. If he backs up last week, only giving up 12 pressures to Daniil Hunter, or 12% pressure rate, and he does that again today, we got something going here that deserves even more of a discussion. So his first of all, physical traits, great feet, big kid, but his positive frame of mind is I'm really interested in him and how he'll play today.
Big challenge facing this Chargers defense. The Chiefs defense is going to present a challenge to this Chargers offense, though. The Chiefs defense was awesome last week, especially in the second half. We held the Texans to only 67 total yards in the second half last week. Obviously wasn't enough in the end, but the defense gave us a chance to win.
Chris Jones started everything right there. He just started it right there, and he said, get on my back. All the crowd. He blows up the run on first down. Now they're 2nd and 14. Bing, off the field. It started the whole string of 4 straight 3-and-outs and 5 that you alluded to of 21 yards and 16 plays. So they got to do that again today. This is a Charger offense that has dealing with some issues on the offensive line. But the defense, this to me is very similar to the Houston game. When you look at it in all the metrics and then you look at the circumstances, very similar. This isn't going to be a 45-44 game.
Well, the key last week was creating pressure, right? We created a 66% pressure rate on C.J. Stroud. Chris Jones had, I think, his best game of the season, as you were talking about. He had 8 pressures last week. George Karlaftis had a great game with 5 pressures. Ashton Gelati had 5 pressures. And like you said, looking at the Chargers, they've had issues up front all year, losing Rashawn Slater, losing Joe Alt, might not have Trey Pipkins here today up front. We got to take advantage of that here today.
And 2 things here. It is not December the 14th. It is Karlaftis the 14th. I've declared that over 1/3 of his production, Matt, when you look at his sacks, pressures, tackles for losses, George Karlaftis has been after December 1st.
Wow.
Look what he's done in the playoffs, right? 10 playoff games. He's got 8 sacks, 16 pressures, 8 tackles for losses. This is when he kicks it in. I talked to him this week about it off air, but we talked. This is when you do this. This is what George needs a giant game today, and he doesn't need Chris to get him started. This is George Karlaftis' time. Now, let me get into some numbers about the pressures that the Chargers have given up, and I don't think we've heard this a lot. Herbert's faced 224 pressures this year. That's 31 more than anybody in the league. Second, Cam Ward.
Wow.
And we know the year he's had. The hits on Herbert, he's had 106 hits. Second, Pat at 93. But he's 31 more pressures. He got sacked 7 times last week. I got a fun stat on that one for Herbert. But they're 9-4 because he has just survived all of that. And he keeps grinding away. He's running the ball. He ran to seal the game against us. But you've got to run and attack him without letting him run. And I talked with Spags about it. You've got to stay disciplined in the pass rush, but you can dominate this offensive line today. You can dominate them because they've struggled.
Well, you mentioned George Karlaftis. We're counting on him to do that here today. And I had a chance to catch up with George earlier this week. Take a listen.
All right, joined now by George Karlaftis. George, obviously tough result on Sunday, but the defense gave us every chance to win, I think, especially in the second half. You guys go out there, you hold the Texans to like 17 yards on their first 5 possessions in the second half. What was working for the defense all night on Sunday?
I mean, it starts with the game plan and Spags and in practice. All the coaches, we had a great game plan kind of put on, and we weren't really happy with how we played against the Cowboys. So we kind of set out a goal to play our best football, be detail-oriented, and kind of individualize and play one play at a time and execute to the best of our ability. I think, that's one of the reasons why we had a better game. Obviously we'd love to get the win, but yeah.
Seemed like Chris kind of fired everybody up. He had, I think, his best game of the season. I think
Absolutely.
He had 8 pressures, and he was everywhere. How did you guys kind of follow him into battle there in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is like, hey, we're gonna have to put the team on our back, just for the defensive line. Coach Reed talks about it all the time. The offensive and defensive lines have to dominate in order to give us a chance, right? So it was kind of just stemming from that, and trying to spark some energy and bring all of us together, and try to win the game.
You know who also had a good game by my estimation is Ashton Gelati. I think he had 5 pressures.
Yeah, Ashton played a good game.
What's impressed you about Ashton this year and kind of how he's grown over the course of the season?
He's grown a lot. He's gotten better every single week. He listens, he studies, he works at it. And he really works at it. So he's been great. He's been a great addition. He's going to continue to get better and better.
Now, looking forward, tough challenge again against the Chargers. They're playing pretty good football right now. Just talk a little bit about that challenge and how can we slow them down?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a team we've played a lot in these past few years. Every year we play them twice, and the team that we lost to. So we have a lot of respect for them and their offense and them as a team. They're very well coached. They're tough. They run the ball well. They can pass the ball. So there's a lot of respect from us to them.
And last question, just looking toward the end of the season here, been a bit of a bumpy road, but still a lot to play for, and playoff hope still alive. What's the message right now in the locker room about just kind of taking it one game at a time?
Just controlling what you can control. There's no chance of us going to the playoff unless we win out, and it's as simple as that. So just one step at a time, one game at a time, and controlling what we can control, and then we'll see where it's at when it's all over.
George, I appreciate you. Good luck on Sunday.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, great stuff there from George Karlaftis. We're now joined by a franchise legend. It's Dan Mears. You might know him by a different name, though, Casey Wolf. Dan was Casey Wolf for 35 years before retiring before this season. Dan, what's going on?
Well, wait a minute. Isn't this like Batman having his like it's Adam
Bruce
West.
Wayne here.
Wait a minute. Yeah, it's Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
This is perfect weather for a mascot. Trouble is, I'm a retired mascot, so right now I am freezing to death. I'm not used to this. So.
Well, I was going to ask you, you've been out here probably 1,000 times. What's it like being out here without the suit on?
You know, it is a little different, I must say. But what's fun is I walk around, I see all these people that I know. And as you guys know, the best thing about this Chiefs Kingdom are the relationships that you build. And just so many great people. I love this community, love this team and this franchise. So
We have everybody mesmerized going, that's the guy. All these years, that's the one.
now you see why. Keep it covered up right there. So,
But Dan, how much of this do you ever feel like you helped build all this? Because when the first year you were the mascot of KC Wolf, it was kind of the start of building what Arrowhead is today. How much satisfaction do you have in that?
well, it's very satisfying. I remember when I first started, I'd be like, people would be like, "Hey, it's that big football mouse," and I'm like, "I'm not a mouse, I'm a wolf." And so, you know, you'd have the kids calling you Chuck E. Cheese and all this other stuff. And finally, after enough years, they started to realize, okay, this is KC Wolf, the mascot. And so, after 35 years, hopefully, we have people know who I am at this point in the costume.
The football mouse.
The football mouse.
Here's the thing. You love spreading joy and happiness to everyone, right? And it's not just in the stadium. You've done it all over the world. I don't think people know about all the charitable stuff that you've done all over the world. Why was that so important to you?
Well, I tell you what, I've told this to so many people. In the back of my Bible, I've got a quote that said, God didn't put us on this earth just to make a living. He put us here to make an impact. And that was always my goal as KC Wolf, is to take that platform that I was given and just use it to hopefully go out and make a positive impact in the lives of others. And hopefully we did that. You know, I've got to travel all over the world, and I still do a lot of traveling and do a lot of speaking and work with a lot of orphanages and homeless shelters and food banks, and that's the rewarding part of the job, as you guys know. So,
Well, you've run the 1 Corinthians race very well, but winning the Super Bowls, did you think when you started this in the early 90s, I'd have 3 Super Bowl rings, and to do that and have all that happen, what was that like for you?
it was super special. I worked for the Chiefs for 29 years and never went to a Super Bowl. And I finished my career going out to 5 out of the last 6. And
Wow.
I still laugh about this. The first Super Bowl ring I got, I brought it home. I've got 3 kids, and my kids are like, Dad, that thing's really cool. Because as you guys know, they're cool.
Yeah.
And my kids are like, Dad, you got to keep doing that job until you get 3 of those. Or we're all going to fight over that when you die someday. And I'm like, well, if you fight over it, I'll give it to your mom's next husband at the time. But thankfully, we won 3. And so now my kids won't have to fight over my Super Bowl rings when I someday pass. So
That's awesome.
Perfect. I won't reveal the name of the new guy. I don't know if that violates like a mascot code if I
Right.
say his name, but why was he the guy for the job, and how has he done so far, do you think?
You know, I think he's done a great job. If you get to meet him out of costume, fantastic guy, and he's just high energy. I love watching him on TV now. You know, I get to see him. Those preseason games, I'm sitting in the air conditioning. He's out there sweating, and I'm drinking a cold lemonade, thinking, hey, hope you're having fun out there.
It's awesome.
That was always the best part. You know, in my job, as long as you were having fun, you didn't really think about how hot you were or how cold you were at the time. And so that was my goal, just each day go out and have a good time, because that'll take your mind off the fact that you just feel like you're sweating.
Losing 10 pounds in
Exactly.
sweat.
He's the new football mouse.
The new football
I just
mouse.
love it, Chuck E. Cheese. But I want all of our people to know, I don't want to ask you about this, because your faith is really real to you.
Yes.
You went through a difficult circumstance in losing your wife. That journey, the battle, to do it side by side, the end of your KC Wolf football mouse career was being a rock for her.
Yes.
What was that like? Because it's not what you had planned. This wasn't in the script.
That's right. So, you know, there's a lot of things in our lives happen that we don't have scripted, but as you said, my faith is the foundation of my life. And I know I've got hope that I know she's not suffering anymore, and I also know that I'm going to see her again someday. But, yeah, it's not how I planned everything, but you know what? That's okay, because God's God. I'm not. I'm just along for the ride. And I consider myself a very blessed man. You know, each day I wake up, I realize I've got 2 bags that sit on my dresser every morning. I've got a bag of blessings and I've got a bag of burdens, and I get to choose which one I'm going to pick up. And I've tried to learn over the years that each day focus on those blessings. And we've all got burdens, but when we focus on the blessings, you know, like I said, one day I'm going to see her again someday. And while I'm here, while I've still got time on this earth, I intend to use it to continue to hopefully spread some joy and make an impact in this world.
Can I share this real quick?
Of course.
Okay. 3 Super Bowl parades. I got to spend all 3 in the back of a pickup with
this
Dan,
guy.
who was the football mouse. But the first one, because we'd been doing it a long time, we come over the hill on Grand Avenue, and all we can see are hundreds of thousands of people having the best day of their life, all race, creeds, and colors, right? And they're all high-fiving each other. I said, Dan, heaven's got to look like this. He goes, no, it'll be a lot better than this, but this is a pretty good idea.
That's right.
I'll never forget that.
No.
And the fact that I got to be in the back of the pickup with you for 3 Super Bowl parades is maybe the highlight.
Last question, Dan.
Yes.
You're banging the drum today.
Yes.
What's it going to mean to you to feel the love from Chiefs Kingdom, and not necessarily as Casey Wolf, but as Dan Mears?
Well, you know what? Like I said, I love this. I just hope I don't screw this up somehow. You know, I don't exactly have a lot of rhythm. If you watch me dance in a costume, I just pretend like I've got rhythm. But yeah, I mean, I love these people. I love this town, like I said, and just love the Hunt family and just guys like you that I've friends that I've made over the years doing this job. And so, yeah, it's fun to be here. And, yeah, I'm just hoping I have fun and get to see a whole lot of people. Apparently my time's about up.
And get bonked by a football.
We'll get you out of here before these footballs hit us. We love you, Dan.
Hey,
Thank
love
you
you
for
guys,
everything.
too.
Love you, brother.
You're a legend. Good luck up there and have fun today, okay?
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yes,
Christmas.
sir. Merry Christmas to you. What an amazing human.
Yeah. One of the absolute best people, not just in the mascot business, in the sports business in general. He is one of the most genuine, kind people I've ever met. Brings joy to everyone's face, no matter what's going on. Just an incredible person.
You know, he got a surprise. Stephanie Judah, our cheerleader coach, is amazing. But this year, after he announced his retirement, they had arranged all these mascots to come from different sports from all over the country, and it surprised Dan. So here came, you know, San Jose Sharks guy, and Dan had the same look of joy and surprise and feeling that he gave to so many people for over 3 decades. He was an awesome mascot, but a better person, and the heart is real. He's a real dude.
Just an awesome guy. We have the inactive, so let's go over those.
Yeah.
We were watching Trent McDuffie for the Chiefs. Unfortunately, Trent is inactive today. So Trent has that knee injury, was questionable coming in. He is inactive here today. Thanks, Glenn.
That's Glenn Conley, by the way.
Yeah, we have our tech crew coming in and helping us out with
AKA
that.
the Lighthouse.
Mitch and I always forget when we have stuff just like sitting on the middle of the table. We always call it the car battery. Anyway, thanks, Glenn.
Lava lamp.
Trent McDuffie inactive here
But
today.
I'm going to say this. He tried like crazy to get ready this week.
Yeah.
I've rarely seen athletes that tried so hard to be ready to go. I think the elements were going to make it hard, too. The fact that we're sitting 110 degrees. But Trent McDuff gave it all he had to try to get ready.
Hopefully have him back next week. We're also obviously not going to have Juwan Taylor today with the triceps injury. Not going to have Trey Smith today with the ankle injury. And then I don't see Wanye Morris on here, but I think he's on injured reserve.
Yeah, they
now.
put him on IR.
Yeah, so
last
there
night.
it is. Yeah, so Wanye Morris obviously not going to play, moved to injured reserve. And Hollywood Brown, due to some personal reasons, not going to play here today. The big one, though, is Trent. Got to find a way to overcome that.
Yeah, here we are, Noah Williams. Let's go. You know, we've both been encouraged with him, but here's what happens with McDuff when you go nickel, who plays the slot, and these guys are really good attacking the slot. We know about Ladd McConkey and what he can do, and then Aronde Gadsden, they're a good rookie tight end. So that, again, the obvious thing is, you're down your all-pro corner, but when you go to nickel and dime, that puts you in a situation as well. But I'm fired up. The defensive version to me of Esapole is Noah Williams.
Yeah.
Because he got thrown in the fire, too, after McDuff got hurt last week. And the guy's got 5 passes defensed. In about a third of the time, as the other DBs.
He's not scared of anybody.
No, in fact, he's coming after you. And I think in a weather day like this, his physical nature could be a real plus.
Now, there is some good news for the Chiefs in terms of the Chargers inactive.
Yeah,
so
they're beat up.
Quentin Johnston is not going to play today.
No.
Quentin Johnston's a good player. Got us a bunch of times in Brazil, if I remember correctly.
He's really improved, too. He's improved a lot.
Yeah, he has from his rookie year with the drops. He hurt his groin in practice on Friday, so he was a full go all week until Friday, was limited with that groin injury. He's not going to play here today, so that's a big deal. They're not going to have kick returner Darius Davis with an ankle injury, one of the best return men in the NFL. That's a big deal.
He also has hurt us in the past.
He sure has. They're not going to have right tackle Trey Pipkins. So if you're watching earlier, we all know that Rashawn Slater got hurt in training camp for them. They moved Joe Alt to the left side, and Pipkins takes over at right tackle. Well, now Alt is hurt, and now Pipkins is hurt. So they're kind of like us in terms of their offensive line situation. Not going to have him today. Not going to have defensive back Elijah Molden. He started 10 games for them this year. That's a big deal. They are going to have linebacker Troy Dye with a hip injury, who's questionable coming in. He plays quite a bit for them on defense, big-time special teamer. They are going to have him, but no Darius Davis, no Trey Pipkins, no Elijah Molden, and no Quentin Johnston for the Chargers.
It is a battle of survival here, and both teams those are critical injuries for both sides.
Yeah.
And so who's going to step up for them or step up for us? The other thing about the offensive line with Pipkins going down, they play a lot of 6 offensive linemen. They'll play tackle over tackle. Well, now you're down to the bare minimum for them too. So they called up guys. They got Trevor Penning. They picked up a practice squad from New Orleans. He's a Iowa kid, Mason City.
Bobby Hart.
And Bobby Hart. They just picked dudes up off the street. So they're in there too. This is a battle of attrition.
Well, Mitch, we'll close with this. Like we've talked about, it's been a weird season.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us expected to be 6-7 at this point this year, but there is still time and there is still a chance. It's just a matter of seizing it. So let's go out there and do it.
Yeah.
For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Let's go get a victory.